Hello everybody, BeMetalways here. Welcome back to another weekly heavy metal album review. This week is a big release, GOJIRA Fortitude, released by Roadrunner Records on April 30th, 2021. GOJIRA are a French progressive death metal band. The band's lineup is the same since the band's debut Terra Incognita in 2001. GOJIRA released the third album and critically acclaimed From Mars to Sirius in 2005, and since then they have been growing in popularity and putting out good albums one after the other. I personally came in contact with the band during a summer festival, and after listening to Vacuity, I got really sold on this band and became one of my favorite modern metal bands. And now Fortitude is their seventh studio album, coming out almost 5 years after Magma. Magma was a very good album, which found the band breaking through commercially, introducing their music to a broader audience. It is a more accessible album than any of the ones before, and also one where the band experimented much more and took some risks. In general terms, Fortitude is a natural progression from Magma and not a return to early albums. From the artwork, which was created by Joe Duplantier, the vocalist and also rhythm guitarist, we can see that experimentations and risk-taking will be part of the album. Out of the 11 tracks, 5 were released as singles before the album. The first one, Another World, goes back to August 2020. This is a trademark catchy GOJIRA track, perfect song to get the early and new fans hooked. The first 3 singles, which are also the first tracks on the record, are some of the heaviest and coolest songs on the album. Particularly Bore for One Thing, the album opener, is my favorite. I love the groovy drumming intro, and the drums throughout the track are just insane. The bass lines underneath are also punchy, and the guitars bring some amazing guitar work. The song structure is complex and unconventional, makes it a very interesting song. It's a heavy and energetic old school GOJIRA through modern lens. It's just all around one of the best songs of the year so far. Then we have Amazonia. Musically is a good balance between a pure GOJIRA sound and experimenting with what I think it's a berimbau and also some other woodwind instruments. Now, interestingly, berimbau is not originally from the Amazon, but brought to Brazil from Africa. In any case, it sounds great. Those unconventional sounds are there, but subtle, and the drumming that goes with it is just fantastic. Another single is the track 9, Into the Storm, a heavy but also catchy tune with an epic feel to it. I love it. I find it also newfound on the same veins as Into the Storm, the difference here being the extended song outro, which makes it the longest song on the album with close to 7 minutes. The title track is a 2-minute instrumental that transitions into the 5th single, The Chant. Both share the same melody and can even be seen as one song, if you will. Here we see some risk-taking and experimentation again. The intro is based on acoustic instruments and an oh melody that is very unconventional for heavy metal. Surprisingly, they take that same melody from the intro to the chant, and while at first it didn't appeal to me, I learned how to appreciate it. It is a grower. Then we also have the song Hold On, which is also a grower and difficult to get into it. Again, an example of experimenting and taking risks. This choral-like intro lasts 1.5 minutes, so it is long, but then the guitar riff enters and it sounds good. It is still a big sounding song with an atmospheric feel, and I like the diversity that it brings to the album. But then we have the song The Trails that take that atmospheric sound to another level. A very different song for Gojira and sounds like the ocean or something like this. So, meaning pretty much a post metal song. Fortitude was recorded and produced by Joel, and it sounds really good. The bass is not always easy to hear, but when it is, it's just makes a good mark. On the other hand, Mario, the brother of Joel on the drums, his drumming throughout the record is just great. Relentless, diverse, creative, and well blended with the samples and eventual percussion instruments. And I also must say that Joe's voice is very dynamic in this record, sometimes sounding very traditional like the previous records, but also going clean, going with different textures, and it's very, very dynamic, and I love it. Now, musically, there's not a lot to complain here. I mean, I must say that it's just a matter of having an open mind and giving it some time to get into the more innovative and different songs. Some of those are more accessible and slower than in earlier records, but to me, that's not a problem. Those records, the old ones are great and you can always go back to them. But, being already their seventh album with their experience, creativity, and curiosity, we can't expect Gojira to redo from Mars to Sirius every couple of years or anything like that. And despite all the changes and experiments, it is still sounding pretty much like Gojira. The only one thing I can say that I don't like it very much is all the politics and activism and messages, etc. I don't like that side of the lyrics. I mean, it doesn't put me off, but it also doesn't interest me either. Now, wrapping up here, Gojira knocked this one out of the park. A great album, which I'm sure will had many year-end lists in 2021. They were able to masterfully combine old-style Gojira with experimentation and ambience. As a result, the album is diverse and super interesting. On top of it, it all comes down to great songwriting. There are no bad songs, and even better, a handful of them are just great. Yes, some of them are different and not as heavy as in previous works, but I love it. A 21st century masterpiece. I don't use this word often, but with a score of 87 out of 100, Fortitude is already top of the decade contender for me. That's all I had for today. I hope to hear from you. Comment below, like, subscribe, and BeMetalways.